Hey guys, Art Klein here, average picker. So the other day I got asked about the vise I used, and then I ended up with a slew of private messages from different people asking some other questions about it and things like that. So I figured, what the heck, we'll do a little tiny quick video on vices. I think if you're even slightly starting to get into lockpicking, and you get over that little bit of initial hump, you've picked a couple locks and you're starting to go, oh, I need some better picks. You should probably start budgeting for a vise. Now, I will wrap this whole thing in saying I don't have a lot of vices. I don't use a lot of vices. I pretty much have what I've got, and that's what I know about. Okay, so your dirt cheapest option is this thing. Okay, this is actually the first vise I had. You can find these for about $7.95 at a lot of different hardware stores. You usually find them like that in the store because somebody has picked it up thinking, oh, I need that, and then they decided they don't need it and they throw it down. $7.95, so this is worth every bit of $3. So if you think about it, like is a $3 vise, and then you're spending an extra $4, to buy a McDonald's meal for whatever, I don't know, Chinese kid lost fingers making 100 of these. It's a pretty good deal. It's functional. Absolutely barely functional though. You do have to clamp it on a table. It's about, let's call that about 3/4 of an inch. Maybe just, half an inch maybe. Give you some perspective. It's a standard 1100. All right. So if your table is about the size of 1100, you can get it on there. Master Lock 3. So compare your table to a Master Lock 3 before deciding to spend $7 on a vise. You do have to do some weird stuff with it. So like when you go to clamp up a lock, you'll end up learning to clamp things up kind of at an angle like that. It does hold them. If I open it much more than this, this end just falls off. But you have just enough that if you get creative and hold your thumb on it, you can get some bigger cylinders in there. So yeah, if you're just absolutely desperate for a vise and for whatever reason your budget is slightly more than nothing, but still less than a box of chicken, this is the way to go. And I said it was made by a Chinese kid. I have no idea where this is made. I mean, that's how cheap it is. They don't even tell you where it's made. And honestly, nobody has a patent on cheapness. We can produce shit here in the States. We can produce shit in China, India, Germany. Everybody is capable of making crap. So let me grab the other clamp or the other vise, and we'll take a look at it. Okay, so what I'm using is a Panavise, the low profile base. It's model number 305, and the Panavise JR Head, which is model number 203. I picked them up off of Amazon. I don't remember what I paid. I think each piece ranged somewhere between $23 to $27 each. So let's just say I was in for $50 on the vise. I knew a couple things that I wanted before I started researching and trying to find one. It was from using that other little piece of crap. One of them was that I didn't want anything that sat up too high. I didn't want anything too wide. And it was going to be a vise that was dedicated for lockpicking. I was it wasn't going to have to serve double duty. I wasn't going to be trying to cut things on it. Worst case scenario would be I might need something as kind of an extra hand and doing some soldering or something. But for the most part, it was going to be for lock picking. And I tend to pick in different locations. You usually see me here at the table. I also pick on like a kind of portable tray table thing. You can just, I could set up beside the sofa. It's only about like yay big. And sometimes over in the computer room. And I also travel sometimes, like take a car trip or something. I wanted something that was easy to move around. Base-wise, I wasn't going to be bolting this thing down, and I just don't like the suction cups. Those suction things, it's more of a hassle to me, and maybe that's just from growing up with those pencil sharpener things that suction cup to tables. I don't know. But that was kind of what I knew I was looking for. I also knew I didn't want anything that was going to interfere with the back of the lock, especially when you're just using the kicks. So I didn't want to have to be like, going around and trying to wrap something up to get let the back of it turn. So that was pretty much what went into ultimately selecting these two pieces, right? I do really like it. I'm incredibly happy with the purchase. Like I said, I can't sit here and say, oh, how does this compare to, say, X model Vise from Harbor Freight or something. But this matched everything I was looking for in a Vise. I love that it articulates. You can get some crazy things going on with it, right? It's really nice, like say you want to just hit that check pin from the bottom on like an Everest, right? You can clamp it up sort of like that and just come in underneath and hit that little check pin under there, so that's nice. Honestly, it doesn't have to bolt down. Get it angled up here to something that's kind of comfortable to work with. And you've seen me pick. Like, picking locks is not pressure intensive on this stuff. You're kind of just sitting here, and if you're gonna have your hand up here just semi-resting anyway, it's more than enough to keep this thing stable. You're not going to be rocking it around. It does come with a little plastic piece that fits over here, like a little wheel. You can spin the thing open faster. I tend not to use that. So yeah, there we go. It is a Panavise. That's what I use. I'm really happy it met everything I was looking for. It's portable, it articulates around, it packs pretty flat, so it's easy to put in. The boxes it comes in are pretty nice. Which, look at this. See, look, you can keep locks in it. It's big enough. Just store your locks in it. So what I tend to do is I tend to throw really cheapo stuff in there, and then the things I like to pick on a little more, I toss in the box. So even getting some use out of that. I will, if you're really trying to get nitpicky, this is just plastic. And it tightens fine. It does not take much to secure a lock in there. Okay? You don't have to turn it very much. But it is plastic, and it does bend a little bit, and you do get more grip on the bottom than up here at the top. But you can probably see here it's gapping a little bit. Right? So far that has not proven to be, though, an issue at all. A few cylinders every so often, this is not a good example, but they're a little rounded off. I've got some actually that are a little more rounded on this part. And that doesn't always clamp up so well at the bottom, but you can move it up to the top. and use those grips up at the top, and it works fine. See, so this is probably the only lock. This is a Yale kite lock that sometimes has some issues inside it. It's just a very smooth lock. So it's in there and it is secure, but it will start to wiggle up a little bit. And because, like I said, it clamps tighter at the bottom than the top, it can get looser and looser and looser, right? So this is the only lock that sometimes I will have to modify a little bit. And you know what all I do? I don't even use a piece of leather. I have an old receipt. I just toss an old receipt around it, and it grips in there just fine, and it doesn't go anywhere. For the kicks, though, it's also nice because you don't have to do anything about that. You can see it fits in there, all right? And you don't have to worry about this back piece that much. Some smaller ones, do I actually have a smaller one out at the moment? I'm not sure I do. So yeah, if you got a really small one, you're going to be cutting it close, but you can usually just back it off a smidge and the back will hang out enough, or move it up into here and it'll still hold it fine and it clears. So you don't have to worry about it. Grab it on the back. And like I said, because I wanted a vise dedicated to lockpicking, you know, I was looking for that. I didn't want to have to sit here and try to wrap things up and everything. You know, if your vise needs to do double duty, or triple, or, you know, cutting pipe or whatever else you might want to be using it for, this is probably not the way to go. But if really all you're looking for is to pick locks with it, hold some electronics, I think you could probably even do some jewelry work or little things like that with it. Yeah, no, it works. So there you go, little tiny video on which vise it is. That was the Panavise low profile base 305 and the Panavise junior head model 203. It clocks in on Amazon for about $50. So, all right, talk to you later, guys.